No problem.
Oh,
I see
dang, that
it.
was fast. We're
Was-
recording. Jay,
We're live.
could you introduce yourself and tell us some of the stuff that you do, or
Um,
all of it?
yeah, I mean, I'm Jay Halsey. What do I do? So my day job, for the past since like 2009, I've worked for various nonprofits. The one
Mm.
I've been at now, I've been there since 2012, the very beginning of 2012. I work for a food bank. That's what I do. It's kind of like I think that I kind of fell into it by accident 10 years ago, and then I just stayed with it because I like it.
Yeah.
We're a food bank. We feed people who need it, and there's a lot of that. There's a lot more of that now. Um, so that's my day job, and that takes up a lot of my energy, takes up a lot of my mental capacity. Um, the things I do outside of that is I write, I take lots of photos, and I vent a lot about the systems that are failing us, and you know this.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, that's me in a nutshell. That's like
Thank
the
you.
foundation.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't. I feel like a lot of people don't know these things. Like, for example, your nonprofit work, and I know that you I have an inside tip that you've wanted to do something more with that. Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
I mean, I guess like I mean, I think that's like a pipe dream though. Yeah, we could totally talk about it. Like nonprofits helping people in need, like I won't say nonprofits. I think that's too general of a term.
Yeah.
Helping feed people and like working for nonprofits that provide basic needs for people, and that's kind of like where I'm
Hmm.
at the food bank. And before that, I worked at a for a couple years until I thought I was gonna literally like have a mental breakdown from it. I worked for a community outreach center that was really hands-on with people in need. But I think ultimately, yeah, I think it would be great to put my passion of like photography and writing into what I do every single day and like somehow make that shift to where, well,
Yeah.
instead of doing this part of the instead of going to an office every day and busting my ass all the time, like I would love to raise awareness to photography and art. And I think that's what everybody wants to do who's artistic or
Yeah.
has artistic leanings, but also does humanitarian work. I think that's a natural thing. Um, but I've not taken any steps to doing that. Like I have all these grand ideas in my head, you know. But it's like it's with nonprofit work specifically, with helping people in need, especially like I mean, there's always elevated times, and this is an ultra elevated time,
Hmm.
since the pandemic. I mean, shit, Tamika, like there ain't like I don't want to do shit when I get home. Like
I get that.
I mean, I go to work. I'm at work by 3 o'clock in the morning. Um,
Yeah.
I'm home by 2 in the afternoon, which is cool. Like I can kind of flex my own hours like that. Um, but I mean, really, all I want to do when I come home is drink whiskey and smoke cigarettes, and I'm not doing either of those things anymore. So, so instead, like I work on knives. I
Yeah.
read. I mean, I just try to do shit to keep me busy.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not just completely like, just because that's what I did for so many years was like I just numbed everything.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I think some people can do that forever, and man, bless them. Like
Yeah.
power to them, and some people can't. Like, woo, man. Like, it just yeah. I mean, I have tendencies to like just want to just drink alcohol and smoke 80,000 cigarettes. It's been almost a
Yeah.
year. Like, I think we're like a week and a half away from like 1 year of, No smoking.
Wow, that's amazing. And I remember when that happened and stuff too, when you all were doing that. Was that did Deanna Rush help with that?
Fuck yeah, she did. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying that there's any one method.
Hmm.
I mean, I think the only method that really works is that you have to want to do it. Because I
Yeah.
think I think Hillary was telling me some shit about one of her friends who's like done all kinds of stuff, like from hypnosis to the patch. I mean, you name it. But it's like, well, yeah, of course it's not working for her because she don't want to quit, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shame in that. But I
Yeah.
know, like with Hillary and I, for me specifically, like there would be mornings I'd get to work, man, and I would smoke like I'd smoke my usual cigarette before I even went into work, which
Hmm.
that was a big deal, even be able to do that, like being able to wait till I got to work to smoke a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, there were some mornings, and I think it was a mix of all the anxiety mixed with work and shit, that like I felt like I was about to stroke out,
Oh, geez.
and like I just could feel like shit constricting, and so I was ready. Like, and it was around this time last fall, and Hillary and I kept talking about it. And then, Deanna does that. Is it EFT? Is that what it's called? EFT?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I can't think of the acronym, but it's that tapping stuff. It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like meditation while tapping. And so we did that with her for like, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks, something like that. And
Nice.
then, I mean, dude, I want cigarettes constantly. Like, I wish I could be smoking a cigarette right now. But it's really just about, the way I understand it now is like you just make choices,
Yeah.
and like and the choice that I'm making is just I'm not gonna smoke anymore because I did it for 28 years, and so, you
Yeah.
know, I need to like it was getting bad for me.
I think that's amazing. And it's just like I think it's also really important that you brought up the point that it's like don't beat yourself up, like we all have the tools that we have when we have them. And then
Right.
when we're able to see more and have like a different landscape in front of us with new tools, then we can make those choices. Like those choices, that's something I think a lot of people forget is that like those choices aren't available to us if we can't see them. And
Well, yeah. I
so
mean, I think that's with anything that I mean, with any chemical dependency or any addiction, just any addiction at all, like you have your people over here who were born, were literally given more tools. Like they
yeah.
grew up with these tools, and then you've got people over here who like
Mhm.
they were not given tools. They were born with the tools that they were given were the things that they have
Mhm.
become dependent on.
Mhm.
Those are the examples that they had, and there's no judgment. And so what was cool about Deanna's shit was that like that's kind of a big preface. Like nobody's perfect. Like
Yeah.
if you fail, don't beat yourself over it. She didn't even say fail. She doesn't use any trigger words like that, right? I do because that's who I am. But like if you mess up, if you backtrack, if you don't meet a goal, then
Yeah.
it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. And like going to something like plus Deanna is just cool. I mean, obviously it helps that you know the person as a friend.
Yeah.
She's cool as hell. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it worked. I mean, it worked. It worked as long as it works as long as I think as you want it to work, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want it to work, then it's gonna work. If you're not ready to whatever it is, then it's not gonna work. So, and I think for me, like quitting smoking was really like the first step into just really trying to take care of myself on the inside instead of just like doing the few times a week workout, like lifting weights. Like lifting weights don't mean shit
Right.
if you're still putting a bunch of garbage in your body. I mean, it worked for a very long time for me.
Mhm.
um, and then also like, I mean, drinking, like I don't think like I could have ebbed off the whiskey abuse until I quit smoking, because
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I think there's too many things in common. Like there's a connection in my head with both of those things. So
Right.
anyway, Yeah, I think we got off track there a little bit.
Oh no, not off track. I appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable with that. And because that's a big deal. Like I said, I think that it's really important to like, not beat yourself up, like, and just like, I mean, we all get to be whole people, and we all, um, when we have the opportunities to do so, and when we have the tools, we can make some changes. And I like thinking about it that way because I think I used to be super judgmental about everything. I think to some degree I kind of am sometimes, but I'm a lot more understanding of myself and also other people now. I think part of it is getting older, but also just like working in the healing arts and like all these other places, being a teacher and stuff, you see people are truly doing the best that they can with whatever they have. And, most people, I feel like most people are. Maybe there's some exceptions, but like,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you could preface everything by saying there are generalized statements that are
yeah.
generally true. I mean, there are, I mean, I see it every day, right? Like
Mhm.
in my work, I see that these people, although they might, from some outside perspective, they might
Right.
be failing, so to speak. Like,
Mhm.
nah, dogs, like these people are literally doing the best that they can with what they have. And some of
Mhm.
these people don't have shit. So I
Mhm.
think that's very important to remember. Um, and I know working in the field that I've been in, like it's helped me have a lot more compassion and empathy, you know, for people in general, just humanity in general, even people I
Yeah.
can't stand, you
Right.
know. And I think that's important.
Yeah, that is important. That's really, really super important. I'd say a lot in these chats, especially like we can't control who's in our community. And I think for me, I like the idea of trying to get to a place where I can like kind of dance with a lot of different kinds of energies. And so like, you know, um, people who are maybe unkind or just straight up terrible people or whatever, like learning how to dance with that energy so that I don't get sucked in and destroyed or whatever. And also to maybe try to enhance the community landscape a little bit by opening instead of closing. I don't know if that makes sense, but um,
I
that's where
think
I'd like to
so.
be. That's where I'd
Yeah,
like to be.
yeah, I mean, I think that's just a good rule of thumb in life is just to
Mhm.
not just the community, like the writing community, the
Yeah,
arts,
yeah,
whatever the case might be, is just being more open and just being more open to uh, um, experience new things, even though you know that it could be terrible and that you've been through. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know, I think that's important. I'm not very good at that in a lot of ways. Like there are people, like I have so much anger inside of me. I do. Like I'm an
I
angry,
get it. I do too.
yeah, and like sometimes I feel like it eats me up. That's why like I
Yeah.
took fucking Facebook off my phone and shit. Like literally the only time I see Facebook and even post on Facebook is if I'm at my desk at work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like as far as days go, that's only a fraction of my day.
Right.
So I it's a lot healthier for me. And that's just me. I'm not saying everybody should get off Facebook. I'm
Uh,
saying that's what I needed to do.
I mean, there are some strong arguments for it. I've read a couple of Cal Newport books, and he talks about like deep work and concentration, creativity, things that are being whittled away by this constant onslaught of distraction, and disruptive technologies like Facebook, and other social media platforms. Um,
Disruptive technology. I haven't heard that term. I like that.
and it's just like, you know, there are some folks who are like, you know what, no more social media at all, and then just learning, like trying to figure out like what are the things about social media that are working in my life, that are beneficial, and what parts of it are just whittling away my headspace.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and
that's exactly right.
mhm.
Yeah, like what parts are you letting poison you, man? And I mean, that's me. I'm talking to myself. I'm not talking to you necessarily.
Well, I mean, like that's the conversation we're in. I think about these things a lot too. I love social media, and I use it too much, I think, for what I need, what I need to get out of it. And so then it's just like, how do you discipline yourself to just use it for those things that you need to get out of it, or that, the parts that actually feed you. Um, that's hard work.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even that though, when you say use it for the things that you need to get out of it, I think it's also worth noting that like sometimes like I think people convince themselves that they need like I'm speaking for myself. I think I needed like I convinced myself that I need to vent. Like I need to voice my overbearing, strong opinions about the motherfuckers in power,
Right.
and like that's gonna help me. But honestly, I feel like some forms of like expression shouldn't be um um uh, uh, uh for lack of a better word, like you shouldn't express yourself all the time. Because for me, what I realize is that just constantly like fucking vomiting, it was instigating shit inside of me that were like if I just let it rest, I'm actually
Yeah.
much more at peace in life
Yeah.
overall, and maybe I need to redirect that energy into action instead of writing shit on Facebook, just writing, you
Hmm.
know, um, or
That's what I'm doing.
just creating something,
Right.
instead of just fucking hollering into the fucking echo chamber, you know.
Right. And that's something I think about a lot, is like, even with these chats, is just like, how can I recirculate them, because things just click down the feed and they have like a certain value when they're clicking down the feed in social media. And even when you work in any kind of news or magazine or something, you're often looking at what's trending. That stuff falls off within 2 or 3 days usually. If it
Um,
lasts 5 or 7, 8 days, that's pretty amazing, but it falls off so quickly, and then we're on to the next thing, like, constantly. And it's like you have to keep feeding the machine to keep attention on your website or your page or whatever. And that's exhausting. And that's what a lot of us are doing. We keep feeding the machine, like, hey, here I am, I exist. And
right, right. No, can I interject?
yes,
Like I
yes.
think I think you fucking nailed it, right? Like here I am, I exist, and it's like,
Hmm.
and that's exactly right. And I think for me, I think I needed that, right? But then once I didn't have to like, it's like actually no, man, I exist without this shit. And my existence is actually healthier for me. Like fuck everybody else. Like I don't give a fuck about what you fucking ate for breakfast. I don't give a shit, like I don't. Like, and you
Yeah.
don't give a fuck about what I have to say, what happened in the news yesterday. Like, you don't, I know you don't care. Like, so it's fine. Like, I still exist. I think that's important. Like, not for everybody, maybe, but I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah. It's
I don't
like, how
know.
do we I just actually saw, because I want to get to your photography, and unfortunately I can't remember the photographers' names, but my friend Natia Suave, so I don't know how to say her last name. Soabe. She introduced me to this photographer, and this photographer does not isn't on social media at all. And maybe doesn't even have an email. Probably has an email, but like, that's low priority. What her priority is taking photography, making pictures, and like, living on her farm. Those are her priorities. And she said in this talk, like, you don't need to constantly prove that you're an artist.
Uh,
You just be an artist, right?
yup.
And that's been haunting me, because I know I'm definitely culprit to this. Like, here's the new coffee chat. I published here. Here's a new selfie. Like, all of these
Yeah.
things. And so I'm definitely kind of enswirled in that social media trap. Um, and what was it? Someone was just talking to me. We were talking about freelancing too. And like, do you want to be writing emails, or do you want to write a book? I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm going to have to tell
Yeah.
somebody no, because I don't want to be answering emails at their
Yeah.
beck and call. I want to be writing my book,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I, you know, so this photographer that you speak of, I think that's a hard place to be. I mean, it would be hard for me, right? Because like
Yeah.
especially in creating visual art, like, or just like any art, like even, I mean, reading or, writing is visual too, because you still got to read the motherfucking shit, it's like somebody's got to read it if you're
Right,
not saying it out loud to a room full of people
right.
or on a Zoom meeting. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know that, like, I think anytime I do something or that I've done something in the past that I'm proud of, photographically speaking, it's like, I want to show y'all motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Like, look, this is fucking bad, like, come on. I don't know. So, I mean, but then, you think back, pre, you know, pre this century, pre 2000s, right? Like,
Mhm.
of course photographers existed, like,
Right?
and we didn't have computers to show off everything that. But then again, it also goes back to just how, like, what you said it earlier, like, you get these news cycles, and this is just an example. They last a couple, 2, 3, 4 days, then they die off. If they last more than that, like, that's a rarity. And
Mhm.
it's the same thing. Like, now that we have technology, like, and now that the phones, oh my god, the fucking cameras on phones are just,
Mhm.
they'll never be able to. Well, I won't say that because I'll be proven wrong. But they'll never be able to do everything that, like, a good handheld camera can do.
Yeah.
But holy shit, man! Like I just got this phone a few weeks ago because my other one finally died after 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the camera, I can't. I mean, there's no moving glass, so, like, you can't zoom in and still get great photos or anything.
Yeah.
But the quality of the photos that I can get, and then I zoom in on once I take them and look at the detail. Oh man, I'm just blown away by it,
Right.
and that's the thing. It's like so this person who doesn't have social media, and they're taking, and they're this, practicing photographer, and all that matters to them is taking photos. It's like, I I have to, like, I don't know how to digest that in my head, because, like, you're a
Yeah.
photographer. Like,
Right.
are you the only one who's looking at it then? You know what I'm saying?
I think she's
I'm just
very
saying, I mean,
lucky.
that's my ego talking, right?
Right. I think she's very connected and very lucky in that way. And just like works a lot. Um and yeah, and I struggle with that too, because like for the rest of us, how are we gonna get attention? Like I know, like I dabble with some photography, mostly with my cell phone. I'm gonna learn on a real camera, hopefully soon. But like,
Hey, hold on, man. Like, you shouldn't even. Nah, you
but I'm
should.
just
You
saying,
shouldn't even.
I
You.
don't know
You
how
know.
the
No. No.
camera
You shouldn't
works.
even say. You say it like it's this thing that, like, this is all I do is on my phone. Like, I used to be that person too before. Like, I didn't have a smartphone till like 2014. Like, I was one of those people. And man, I'd be like on the internet, like, you are a photographer, but I totally, all my bullshit. Like, I take that back. I feel like it's not necessarily the equipment that you're using.
Mm,
It's how you use the equipment. It's your
yeah,
eye. It's like, what are you creating with that phone? And so,
but
dude, like, you don't dabble. Like, you are absolutely, you make art with your photographs. Like, and you have an eye. Like, you take these detail photos of things, and, like, like, you literally, with your mind's eye, you crop shit out, and that's what you take a photo of. Like, no idea what's going on in the big picture, but that specific corner of the window or the door, wherever the fuck
yeah.
it is, with the weed growing up. I'm just throwing shit out there, but you know what I mean.
I do take a
You
lot of
know,
pictures of weeds.
no, but that's, I mean, no, I get it because it's cool. Like, so I'm
Well, thanks
sorry.
for
I
that.
just wanted
No,
to
thanks for
interject.
that.
Like, yeah, so no, so what were you saying? You want to learn eventually to do?
Well, that's where I was going, is like I didn't consider it art. I essentially, a long time ago, I needed stuff for blogs, and I got tired of really crappy clip art and also people taking terrible pictures of me. So I just started, using my cell phone, and like I ride the bus, so there's lots of time, right, to fiddle with shit. And so Susan Freud actually reached out to me, and she was like, "You got to get this off of just Facebook." Like she actually called it art, and and some other people
Yeah, I
did
mean,
too, and
she
like
would know, right? Like,
like and so that made me feel good, but like also I feel an obligation to learn how an actual camera works,
yeah,
because there's like so much more that can happen there. And then even just thinking as like a writer, like if I know like how the camera works and how light works and stuff, um I don't know, there are these intersections that I'm interested in
sure,
exploring,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely. I can see that. I can see that.
I
I
want
mean,
to
yeah, I think anybody who does, I think most people who do, who participate and create more than one specific medium, I think there's always intersection there.
yeah, yeah.
Not always, but more than likely, you know.
I mean, I can't help myself. That's what my brain does, you know. I have many interests and I like the way they can kind of inform the other interests. And that's really fun for me. Not even compartmentalizing them really, just like they just kind of flow together.
Yeah.
Um, but I really want to see some of your art. Are you able to share your screen if I make it shareable? Like multiple participants can share at the same time. Are you able to
What do you
share it?
mean? Like, how do you want to see my art?
I don't know. What can you show? Because like I think it's really important to see your work.
I mean, shit, I'm trying to think. Because right now I'm just on my phone. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even use my PC to do shit. Like,
Is there a way I can share it
I don't.
on?
Go to like, fuck. I'm trying to think. I don't even remember like. So I've got that 500px profile. I think it's 500px.com / if you go to my Facebook page, it's on my the links like right there on my profile.
Oh, okay, let's do that.
I mean, if you
Um,
if that's what you want to do.
yeah, because I love your art. It's often very dark. It has to do with there are a lot of people in your art.
It used to
And
not be like I used to be anti human subjects, and then
really,
yeah,
I'm surprised.
yeah, no,
I
me too. And then once I did it one time I was like, oh fuck it, like this is what I want to do now. It's weird. I mean, it's a weird thing because like at my first art show I had hardly any human subjects in the
yeah.
photos, and I mean, fuck, I
Uh,
think I had like 17 pieces up and I sold 11 of them.
oh,
My
damn.
my second art show, most of them had people, and it was a little bit more experimental, and I felt like this was like I was coming into it. And that's where
Yeah.
I met you. It's my second art show. And I
Yep.
remember, dude, I remember like through the long, I think I showed like 22 pieces, and I think the whole time it hung, which was a little bit less than a month, I think I sold like 4, 5 pieces. So it's just one of those things, right? Like I understand that like what I'm into is
Mhm.
not what the general consumer public is into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's
And
like
that's okay. And that's okay. You know.
but that's
But it
what
was
makes
a
it interesting, you know? Like, I think a lot of photographers become kind of like one-trick ponies. And then
yeah.
a lot of photographers also, I don't know, I don't know if they're really stagnant, but like their work is always the same. And I understand like in the art world it's easier for people looking at it and consuming to be like, "Oh yeah, I recognize that style." You know what I mean? Like a
Right.
Katie Zimmerman. Katie Zimmerman is not a one-trick pony, by the way, but like I
But she has
recognize
her
her
own
work.
language though. She
Yeah,
still
she
has a
has her own
language.
language. Yeah,
And I think if you're this is the wrong word to use. I want to use the
yeah,
word genuine. I think if you're if you, I think if the art lives inside of you, right? Like if you're not
mhm,
just creating shit to get known or recognized, and if you're
yeah,
not just kind of like, I feel like if you actually have a vision, if you have a vision, I feel like it lives right there. And I feel like you can experiment and try new things, but I
yeah.
still feel like your language comes through. Does that make sense?
That. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That does
I
make
mean,
sense.
like, I don't know.
Like finding your voice. It's the same like in jazz or writing, right? It's just like you find a voice, you find, and it's not like
It's like a
anything you're
tone
trying to
almost.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a tone. It's like you have a bass tone, and like your art expands from there. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm wrong,
I
but
can dig that. Oh, that was one that I want to look at. I pulled up a bunch of these. Sorry. I'm
did
like,
you find the page?
I did. And so I'm gonna share here. I pulled some up from your Facebook page too. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean whatever.
Um, and sharing the screen. So yeah, I definitely wanted to show some of your work, and
Oh yeah, that's
let
a
me
good
know.
one.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's
And,
um that's my friend Amanda,
uh-huh.
partner to my friend Miles, and yeah, she just wanted some promo shots, and that's that's a what is that? That's an old fuck, I think it was a sugar mill
Uh-huh.
that had been torn down, and there was one giant structure still left up in Longmont. Yeah, yeah, I got some good ones of her that day. She's a oh shit, I forget, she's an aerialist, so like she does
Okay.
the ropes and things
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, she's great.
that's really cool. Yeah, and that is definitely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shot. I loved this one. I saw this really quick. I'm like, yes.
Isn't that reminds me of like it's like some Marilyn Manson shit.
And she's just walking on stilts, and
Yeah,
it's like
very
so
simple.
yeah,
I love the shadow. The shadow to me is
yeah,
what makes it.
I can dig that. It's
Yeah,
almost it's almost like it's starting to be disembodied a little bit um
yeah,
from the
yeah. That's
person.
great, man. Sorry, no, like I'm my biggest fan. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna be like
No,
I'm
this
not.
is you do amazing work,
Yeah, like
like
I'm never gonna
following.
poo-poo my photography because like I make my own like I make the kind of art that I want to see, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how personal it is too a lot of the times, like I think a lot of photography is like 10,000 feet removed from their subject, and it makes it really cold, but I never get that from your work. Like some of it's pretty dark, but it's also really fun and whimsical. So like the Fox series that I'll
Yeah.
show in a second. It's really fun.
Oh yeah, I would love if you actually show because that Fox series that was about a year ago around Halloween, man, and it was Sunday, and I think Cobain, Hillary's son, he was staying somewhere, and she had bought some shit. And we were cleaning the bathroom, or we were cleaning the house, and she was cleaning the bathroom. And I said, "Put this fox mask on real quick." And then that was it, dude. So like after we were done cleaning that day, we just did like this mini shoot. We got a like we had a fog machine, and
What?
we just set it up and like, dude, and that was it. We just literally did like a mini photo shoot on a Sunday, and that's all that it was. You can make those you can make those bigger too.
How can I? Well, I know I can do that. Um,
But there's the arrow in the upper right hand corner.
upper right hand.
No,
Upper right
upper or my okay, maybe my
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
Our talk was. Oh, yes.
There you go.
These are so much fun. Um, and I definitely wanted to show those because it's kind of like it's very whimsical, a little bit dark, but it's like in that fairy tale vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it's put in like kind of modern parlance. And I think that's great. And I know I noticed that with a lot of your work, even that show that I went to. There'll be like something like cold hard steel next to something that's kind of warm and fuzzy, and it's like this juxtaposition of images.
yeah. I mean, that's kind of who I am, though.
I can dig that. I can totally dig that. Let's see.
Yeah,
Does this go? Oh, that's a cool picture too. I mean, all of them. I like a lot of times you choose these landscapes that feel very um, you know, obviously we live in desert prairie, so it's
yeah,
it's pretty cool. And I know you make some special drives to some places too for
yeah. I do. There's So what, I moved out here from Dayton, Ohio.
Mhm.
Dayton's Rust Belty, like lots of suburbs around Dayton.
Yeah.
Um, Lots of but the green belts are cool. It's country, kind of, but the skies are like kind of pancakes there. Like they're just flat a lot of
Yeah.
times. There's not a whole lot going on. Sometimes, I mean, there is sometimes, I shouldn't say that, but like when I moved out here, I just, in 2006, 2007, I can't remember exactly. Yes, hold on, I gotta look at that. Man, I love this photo. It's one of my favorite ones. That's our house.
And I recognize it too. And it's just like it's so good. It's just so good.
And
Um
yeah, we had the fog machine on full effect there. Like, one thing we found out was that a fog machine will absolutely set your smoke detectors off. Yeah, I had to take out like we have like three or four of them, right? And like we had to take them all down, like take the batteries out.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was whatever. It's fine, but yeah, yeah, I love that one. What's the next one? Sorry, like
Oh
I
no,
haven't
it's
looked at
okay.
these in forever. I'm totally getting into it. I'm sorry. I'm like my biggest fanboy.
Well, you didn't know you had fans out here too. So like these are yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, like when I moved out here to Colorado and really started noticing like the skies, and then met a woman named Sarah who's become one of my best photographer buddies. We started going out to Weld County, and like I don't know how familiar you are with Weld County. It's the county literally just east. That's like a horror movie cover. I love it. Um, but we started going out east on the plains, and I never really had spent a lot of times on the plains, on the eastern plains, and man, my goal was to capture, like, I think that's why I started off with so many landscape shots out here, because
Yeah.
it's so empty and it's so
Yeah.
desolate. Like it's so fucking desolate. Like the wind howls, the dust gets in your camera, it fucked up my sensor, and I wanted to try to but like I romanticized it in my head. And so, that's where a lot of the landscape stuff comes from, is that I think it's really romantic. It's such a hard environment to live in. That's actually on the plains right there, and that is my friend Sarah. That's more poppy artsy though, but you know, I just yeah, they're the Weld County. I don't go there too much since 2016. It feels a little unwelcoming.
Yeah.
Um, the small towns out there and stuff. There's a little bit, like I've experienced a little bit of hostility. So I don't go out there too much, or I don't, at least don't go to the towns too much, but I do want to return there. Kind of sucks, like even in the past years, the oil industry has boomed out there. So there are like abandoned towns out there that they're still abandoned, but all you have in the background is oil rigs and shit,
Mm,
and it's like, which in a way can kind of be its own ambiance. It's not what I want to go for,
right.
uh, you know, but well, it is what it is. Like I'm not too heartbroken about it, because anymore, like there's so many other photo projects I want to do that don't involve landscapes necessarily. Like, remember about a year ago, it was over a year ago, I pitched that one to you. I still
Yeah.
have the notes in a
My
notebook
my
somewhere.
hair's getting longer.
Yeah, and like I just never fucking did it. It's like I never made the time to do it, because that
Mm.
involved us getting out on the weekends and doing shit. And it's like I just have to make the time. I got to stop making excuses, you know.
Same. Same. And
Yeah.
I think about that like I mean lately, like I haven't been working for 5 months because of COVID. And so when jobs started coming in, I started saying yes to all this stuff and then realizing, wait, this isn't what I want to do though. Like, how do I figure that out? Because I just have like this worry. Like, we don't know how long we're going to be here. Like, all of us, or even just individually. Like, I'm in my 40s now, and like, who knows what'll happen. Um, So it's just like it's becoming, my priorities are shifting a lot. Um and like how do we make time? How do we do that? And energy and willpower, you know?
Do you think though, like, when you say those words, like, I mean, do you kind of see that COVID, like the pandemic, in some ways, um, could be fostered as like this good thing, as a positive thing? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I mean, I feel like it was for Hillary,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think it's good in a way. I think good shit can come out it, can come
Absolutely.
out of it. Because it did, like, not for me, because my work just got busier, and it's like
Yeah.
it's more of a stress on me, in a different way. Like, I still work, and I'm so thankful for that. My job is pretty awesome, and my coworkers are like, there's not really much I can complain about my work, except the fact that it just consumes so much of my mental capacity,
Right.
and that's it. I mean, there could be worse things, right? So I
Right.
mean, look, like in your situation, like, you get to meditate on things. Like,
Have
yeah,
to.
yeah, I mean, you get to meditate on things and
Yeah.
think deeply about things. Like, you're not constantly going.
Mhm.
um so I don't know, I think it could be a good thing. I mean, I'm not trying to tell you that you're not in a bad situation. I'm not trying to downplay it.
Well, I mean, technically, I'm doing it, I'm doing
Yeah,
okay. Like, there are a lot of worries that I don't have, and I'm very thankful for that,
yeah,
Um, and uh, the worries that I had pre-COVID seem like they were built on a little bit of false and a mindset of lack that didn't really exist for
what
me
do you mean?
necessarily. So, like, I didn't work for 5 months, right?
Right,
And then suddenly there's like mutual aid projects, and people just start bringing me food. So I definitely wasn't food poor. And just like also even learning about what community actually feels like, and also realizing that there are I can make a lot of different choices based on, like, my rent being relatively cheap, and just like having built a lot of different skills and stuff. So like there's some versatility there, you know. Or people saying, you know what, if shit really hits the fan, you can come stay with me,
right.
like all of these different kinds of things. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, really, my life is full of abundance, and I didn't necessarily realize I had. And even a lot of times enough to share, like, please take this extra food because I'm not going to be able to eat it. It's just going to go to waste and I will feel like shit. Like, please, like, take it. Like, I have it. You need it. You have kids, etc.
Sure.
And so like those kinds of things, abundance has a different meaning. Whereas like before, where I was trying to work for all of this abundance and always making the same amount of money and stuff, no matter what I did, that, very quickly I could see where it was false, and my life was so much richer thinking about these other things like community and making time and headspace for my mental and physical well-being, and also like just, like doing weed cyanotypes, like doing cyanotypes of weeds that I'm picking up on my way home, or something like that. Like, that is much more interesting and much more fulfilling, than spinning my wheels at any of the jobs I was doing, really. So,
I
yeah.
mean, I don't think any of that is alarming or surprising. Like, oh, really? Really? You mean just like soaking the things in and realizing what you have in your life is better than,
Mm-hmm. I know it sounds so obvious.
like,
Like,
putting your fucking ass to the grind constantly, like trying to make as many appointments as possible, trying to teach as much as you can. Like,
mhm,
I mean, jobs wear on a person. They do. I mean, you know, I mean, I could totally go on this fucking anti-capitalism rant, but that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to work. We're supposed
mhm.
to produce. We're supposed to buy shit, to keep feeding the system over and over. And like, it makes me fucking insane, Like,
Me too. Yeah.
I'm tired of it, and that's why, like, I don't consider myself an extremely intellectual person. Like, I'm proud to be a worker, like
Yeah,
I've always worked. I've always,
same.
I come from blue collar background. Like, I grew up, like on the lower end of blue collar,
Yeah,
and I'm not ashamed of that. And so, like, I have no problem working. Like, I love working. I love
yeah,
working. Um and but at the same time, it's like I would rather be working hard doing something else. But at least,
yeah,
at least at least this is what I tell myself, but I also have a counter argument to it. At least I can say that my work does contribute to the basic necessities, people getting what they need in life.
yeah.
But the counter argument is fucked. It's like, and it's true. Like, well, why do food banks exist?
Hmm.
Because we live in a system that, like, that doesn't care about people. Like, food banks are just a fucking symptom of unfettered capitalism. Like, I mean, if we lived in a system that cared about people, nobody would be working. Food banks wouldn't exist. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
a job. Wouldn't need to.
yeah.
It's just, it's so fucked up.
I absolutely agree. And I mean, I've been on both sides too, like just like uh so like something I thought of when you were talking about that is like where food banks get their food from, right? And a lot of time it's the excess of the stuff that wasn't sold.
Oh,
A lot of
no,
times. And
no, it's not a lot of times.
mhm,
The majority of where food banks get their food, the majority of it, in the 90 something percent,
mhm,
is excess food.
mhm.
I I mean, like the high 90s. Like, I would say like 97% of food, whether it's
Holy
from
shit.
grocery stores or from major brands, major
Yep.
corporations, emptying their warehouses or their cold storage spaces to make room for new
Yep.
shit coming in. Like,
Yep.
that's the system.
Yeah. And
And
so
it's like,
technically there's like no lack. There is abundance, period.
oh no,
It's just
abundance is
moved.
like, yeah, that's not even the right word. Like, yeah, I mean, what's more than abundance? I don't know, but I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
it's, and, like, the good thing is that, especially within the past 10, 15 years, the abundance is actually going to people who need it. It's not just being wasted. And
Right.
that's what was happening before. It's like we had this abundance and it was literally going to landfills in some form or fashion, by one route or another route. And at least now it's getting redirected back into the system that produced it, and it's actually helping feed people. So that is one thing about, not working against the system, using the system to work for you.
Right.
Like, so I think that's one positive, like one
Yeah.
big positive. So
I think is a positive too. And that was one of the things I saw, especially early on. It's easy to forget, like if you're not keeping track because things move so fast. Like if you're not journaling every day, you know. But like
yeah,
early on in the pandemic, I saw a lot of fear. I felt some fear. I'm like, no, there's a parking lot over here that just has a bunch of fucking food in it that just got put there because it was redirected from the food bank it was supposed to go to. Go there now. Like there's go and pick up boxes of food, or like or just all these other places too where especially food was just like abundant. Um and that was really cool. And then all of a sudden too, like I mean, so I had a bunch of wine in here. I've been getting rid of it by bartering. And I was just gonna give it away because I just needed it to go. Because I bought like 30 something bottles of wine. On those intro things. Because like for $30 you could get 6 bottles of wine. That's a fucking good deal. And I
fuck
just
yeah,
for some reason I wanted to do that and I did it 4 times. So I had so many bottles of wine.
damn, that
And
sounds awesome.
yeah, if you ever need to like have a bunch of wine, that's like, probably a good way to go. But I didn't feel comfortable selling it. I probably could get in trouble, because I don't have, all the things. And I was gonna give it away, but I'm like, no, no, no. I did actually pay a little bit of money for it. It wasn't a lot, but like I need to like what would happen if I like listed the random shit that I need that I'm running out of and just had people come pick up a bottle? And it's been really cool. Like
Shit.
bartering
Where
is
did you?
fucking rad.
Well, yeah, of course it is. But where did you list? Like, did you do
Just
this on social
Facebook.
media?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
really? See,
Facebook. So my
see, I'm not
friend.
on Facebook that much, so I don't. Yeah, no, I didn't know this. That's fuck yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just like, like masks, which we need, Epsom salts. I asked for oat milk. It was totally random. Printer paper and ink, I think someone's bringing. Uh, like some kind of CBD hair mask. I don't know. Cool. My hair will be nice and glossy or whatever. But like, it's just like it was mostly stuff that I actually needed and asked for. And people just like, yeah, totally. I'll come pick up a bottle of wine and bring you this stuff. Rubbing alcohol, which I've been needing for 6 months,
Yeah.
you know? So like, I'm just like, holy crap. Like, there's no lack. You just have to like think outside of the fucking box. And like, the box is the money. And money does a certain thing. Money's great. I like money. And bartering, we just find out what all else we have, like there's all this treasure.
Well, I think too, Tamika, like, yeah, you have this abundance of wine that you're willing to barter with, but I mean, really too, like, so you was out of this shit, and like, this kind of goes back to like the positive things about this pandemic,
Yeah.
like you, like, as human beings, we are raised in a capitalist system to have so much pride, like, whereas like I feel like asking for help has been like been perpetuated as like this weakness, right?
Yep.
And so what you do by shedding that bullshit fucking pride that shouldn't even exist is like
Hmm.
you discover who your people are. Even though like you don't know them too well, but like you discover like yes, people are out there, there's good people, because you've had to ask for help, like
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that. Like,
Mhm.
Hillary knows that. Like I never ask for help. Um so I think I like this gives me hope. It's
Yeah.
inspiring to see you do this shit. Like it makes me feel good.
Well, I think I'm always using myself as an example, so I'm not just doing it for the sake of it, but sometimes I really do need things. um,
Sure.
and I have learned to ask for help because there were a lot of very insistent people in my life who were like, "So you're just gonna take this, okay?" Yeah. And no matter how much I said no, they were just like, "No, you're taking this. I'm leaving $250 in your hand because you fucking need this to pay the rent, right?" And a lot of heavy resistance and stuff. But then I started seeing like, you know, it also obviously helps me to want to be more that person too, because before I knew this kind of energy existed, before it existed in my life, I was very closed, like just very, very closed. And that wasn't very helpful. And and there were some times when I was in some very scary places, like that state of contraction. um and like, I mean, I think we both know there are a lot of angels in our communities who like, you know they don't need accolades or anything. They're just like, they see a need, they they give where,
Oh,
where it needs to happen.
yeah.
And it actually makes the community much stronger. And I that's the kind of person I want to be, whenever I have the opportunity. Um and I'm not always good at it, but I'm getting better. And it is like that. It's just like, and sometimes I'm really afraid too, like, um uh there are some things that I would like to ask for help for, like community projects and things like that. But like, I feel like every time I do actually ask, people just come out of the woodwork and they're like, yeah, I want to support that. Or you know um and as you can tell, I'm even feeling uncomfortable talking about it. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah. Yeah, you're fidgety as hell.
mm-hmm.
That's okay.
It's
No,
just like,
I feel your anxiety, trust me. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I feel like what you said though about like there's like angels in our community, like with
mm-hmm.
like our specific circles that you
Mm-hmm.
know, that we run that's part of a larger circle. I think you're right, and I think like that makes me feel like a shithead because I oftentimes I'm so hell bent on focusing on the bad apples, the people who just take and never give.
Yeah,
And
there's
so,
lots of
but
those.
so it's good. It's good. No, it's good though. You're reminding me that, like, yeah, of course there are good people. It's
Mhm.
just like, when we were trying to get a house,
Yeah,
and Hillary, oh man, it like I was so against it at first. She started that GoFundMe,
yeah.
and I mean, fuck, I don't even remember what we were looking for, just like the down payment shit, and
Mhm.
um just like the pay for the cost of moving, and I mean, I think we met our goal in like literally like a few days. I couldn't believe it. I could
Mhm.
not believe it. And I mean, there were people who gave that I wouldn't even, I would consider like vague acquaintances,
Yeah.
you know? Um, yeah, it blew
And
my mind. Like
it,
and that was like a really good reminder of like,
yeah.
yeah, people are can be good, and like I need to it's a good reminder now. Like I tend to focus on just how
Yeah.
I want to destroy some people, like destroy their toxic ideas and like their perspectives, but that's not the right way to go about things. And
Well,
this
I
is
mean,
something what no, go ahead.
well, it is an energy, right? It's just like, and I get it. I've totally been there. And now I'm just like, I just literally don't have the time or energy. You're gonna do whatever you're gonna do. And I like I have to do the other
But
thing.
I mean, I feel like sometimes though it's worth remembering, or I think another idea, instead of destroying the bad shit,
Hmm.
is maybe you flood it out with more good shit, right? And I know that's not like some weird concept. I mean, everybody knows that. It's just I need to remind myself of that constantly, because I'm the motherfucker who like almost every post, unless it's like something funny, it's like what I'm talking about. Like I'm talking about motherfuckers doing bad shit, and these are the people that quote unquote are our rulers. These are the people who
Right.
are controlling how society is moving.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to change anybody's mind. I know that.
Right.
I know that.
But
You know.
that's I feel like that's the cool thing. Like, there's this major rampant psychopathy essentially happening, that we're supposed to all be beholden to or whatever. And with these like angels in the background and stuff, and these opportunities to you know, like step to remember that those things exist. I think that creates another kind of energy. There's an undertow, right? And an undertow is a very powerful thing. And I don't know if that's like the best way to think of it, but it's just like this undertow is like sweeping through while this other stuff is happening, and you're watching that, but whatever, this undertow is still happening, and it's still creating change. It's still current. Um, and no one has to see it happening. And
Yeah.
I feel like it in my hopeful heart, I feel like it will change the balance. And I feel like, and I really hope this is really true, because sometimes I fear it's not. I feel like the reason why things feel so loud right now, social media aside, is that it's the death throes. And
Yeah.
I really
I
want to
hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too. I hope,
Fuck,
I hope
man.
that's really true. Because it's just like, it just seems like what happens when you're in a corner and being attacked. When you feel like you're being attacked, you're gonna like lash out, right, with every last bit that you have. Um,
Um,
and unfortunately, uh, I hope that I hope that there's time for the death throes to happen, for those flames to fan out, for that balance to occur without it taking all of us with it.
yeah.
um, I hope that's what'll happen. I hope there's time for that. Um, I don't know.
Me too. I hope you're right.
I try not to be a feudalist.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Like it's like I said earlier, like and I need to learn how to like I'm so angry like all of the time. Like I'm constantly mad at the
Mhm.
world. And, and I think that's kind of like the negative of my job, right? Is like it perpetuates instead of me focusing on the positive shit,
Right.
what it does is like it perpetuates, like it's like the need. I see the need, I see the need, I see the need. It gets worse and worse. And, and you got motherfuckers talking about how great the economy is. Like, nah,
What are
dude,
they
like,
talking about?
well, they're talking about when they talk about the economy, it's like all it is, it's just a measure of how rich people are getting. Like that's
Right.
how much richer are rich people getting?
Right.
Those with money, how much more money are they getting? It has nothing to do with us.
I have
And
an
I don't mean just like you and I just mean
yeah,
us, people
people.
that are with us, people in on the same that are in the same field that we are, which is the majority of people. We might disagree on shit, but we should all be against them, and we're not. Like, we're against
Right.
each other, and that's what I find so disheartening.
Right.
uh, I find it so disheartening, like that. I feel like the people in control, they this is, and I hate to say this shit because it sounds so conspiratorial, like, but I feel like this is exactly what they want. They want the citizens to be against each other when we should focus our power, our collective power, against the people telling us that you all need to fight each other.
Right.
It's saddening to me that, like, we can't just come together and do that. Like, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I didn't want to believe for a long time, because but it definitely looks that way, right? So like, if that's happening, if we're all being pit against each other, that's less for them to worry about. And then and then they can like continue with their economy or whatever. Um
It's the
and that's
economy.
yeah.
Economy's doing great. It's the best economy ever. Mm.
Ugh.
Anyway,
This talk made me think of this image I saw. Like, if you're walking around or paying attention at all, you get to see it. You can see it. And on the 16th Street Mall, there are quite a few people experiencing homelessness, and a lot of them have mental health issues too. And I just remember seeing this older man, an elder, he was shaking. You know, either some kind of neurological thing or Parkinson's or arthritis. Like, it could have been any of those things, right? But
could have
something,
been he could have been detoxing
it
too. I
could have
mean,
been detoxing
yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
And
yeah.
he was sitting there on the side of the street with this big cart full of stuff. And he was just sitting there. He wasn't even asking for anything. He was just sitting there. And up the street comes, a sunny couple. They're in their 50s or 60s. They're very fit. You can tell they're well off. Their shorts are fucking ironed. And like, one of them, the guy is carrying a huge bag of day old bagels. Someone had given him a huge bag of day old bagels. And like, if you work in any of the health fields, you're like, this man might have diabetes, and sugar. There are so many things that can happen. Like, he might not even be able to eat this. And yet, what happens is this man with this very large garbage bag full of fucking bagels, he slam dunks it on top of this pile of like his cart. He slam dunks it. And this man who's shaking already, and you can tell he doesn't have a lot of stability in his joints and stuff, is actually trying to catch it, this bag of bagels, which is like, and it was like one of the strangest, most frustrating, aggravating things I've ever seen in my life, because these people, they had smiles on their faces, they're like doing something good, but they slam dunk it and they keep walking. They don't even
See,
acknowledge him. They don't even
right.
talk to him.
And
And
that's a big sore spot for me, because it's like that's an act of kindness that's not an act of kindness. It's an act
mhm,
of kindness towards yourself to make yourself feel better. That,
mhm,
like, oh, I did this fucking thing. Like, no, motherfucker, if you had any sort of empathy whatsoever,
mhm,
you would have got down to that dude's level and you would have said, hey, man, like, what's going on? Will this help? Like, what do
yeah,
you need? And I mean, and I see it in my line of work, and I see it because my food bank is located in Boulder County.
mhm.
Sorry, just gonna say it, like, you
Y'all got
know,
the money. You need to,
yeah.
yeah.
And it's like, all like, it's like so much charity is not from a place of empathy.
Yeah.
It's from a place of, it's really from a place of self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it's like, and I feel that. I do, man. I remember, can I tell you a story?
Yeah.
Um, so when I lived up around student family housing, like back around 2006, 2007, in Boulder,
Mm-hmm.
at CU, I used to go along the creek there and I would smoke cigarettes and just read, right?
Yeah.
And the creek, along the Boulder Creek path, like that's where a lot of the people without homes, it's where they hang out. Some of them camp down by the creek, like underneath ledges and stuff. Anyway, for a couple years in a row, I would run into this guy who would come up to would ride trains every year from Texas up
Mm-hmm.
to Boulder. Man, I forget his name. Just some white dude, and he was a diabetic, and he had ways to get his insulin and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but um, he he used to always give me beers in exchange for, because the college kids would give him beers and alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the first like long interactions I had with him. Like we always said hi to each other several times, but finally one day he's like, "Do you mind if I sit down and chat?" I said, "Yeah, man." And so we started chatting, and like he's like, "Do you want some beers?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, man." He's like, "No, like seriously, take these beers. I can't drink them." He's like, I can't drink beer. I can't drink alcohol. He's like, and all these college kids, they just fucking throw beers at me like I want beers. And so it
Mm-hmm.
became this thing like, well, you give me beer if you have beers. And I would just, dude, I literally lived like a block away. I would just run home real quick and make them like 3, 4 ham and cheese sandwiches and just,
Yeah.
and so it was like a bartering thing, right? Like, yeah, I'll take your
Yeah.
beer. Like, let me give you something back, just really simple ham and cheese
Yeah.
sandwiches,
Yeah. Yeah.
and but that's the thing though. It's like they would throw beer. Like, man, don't get like he doesn't want beer. Like he probably wants to eat. Anyway, yeah, yeah. So like on the 16th Street Mall, like that's been an idea for a photo project. Like just the
Yeah.
juxtaposition
Yeah.
down because the 16th Street Mall, it's disgusting, right? Like
It's such a strange place, even.
it's like you have
Yeah.
all these retail outlets,
Mm-hmm.
um all like it's always so weird to me that that's a point of attraction for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
Like motherfucker, you can literally find this shit anywhere. Like there's nothing special that's going on here. You're just spending money in a different place that happens to have mountains. Like it's the
Yeah.
same shit, it's the same garbage. It's so weird to me. But then you have the juxtaposition. You have the people without homes down there,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to like relax and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the metro cops down there telling the homeless people to go away. It's like, and I do like, but I'm not. I don't have the courage to. I don't have the courage to go down there and do that. Like it feels voyeuristic to me.
I get that.
And it is voyeuristic. It's absolutely voyeuristic. But I think I don't know. I don't even know what my point is. Like I just want to do the photos.
Yeah.
I don't have the courage to do it. I just don't. Something about it feels a little self-serving, you know? It does. Like don't take photos of them, like give them something, help them.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do about that. That's a conflict of interest that I have constantly. And that's one thing I've always wanted to do, like go down on Colfax and Broadway and shit and really like do a whole portrait series of the people on the streets. But I can't wrap my head around it not being something that's ultimately only serving me. Because I think really it is. And I don't feel comfortable with that. So
I used to work
I don't
down
know.
there, and we got to know a lot of the folks down there, a lot of people experiencing homelessness, and sometimes I ask about some of them, because they're like fixtures, and um, they become important,
Yeah.
and uh, the reason why that happened, how that happened, is like at some point you are having conversations with folks. Like, there used to be this kid down there that played harp all the time. And uh, he would play like pop songs on his harp. And so a lot of us knew who he was and like really cared about him and stuff. And he disappeared for a while. But is doing okay now, Like I think the thing that differentiates this, because I think about this a lot with photographers, right? I've been behind a lot of lenses, and most of the lenses I've been behind, there's a moment where I fear absolute terror or discomfort or just something not quite right. And it's because of the way they are looking at me through the lens. And there are times that that hasn't happened, where I actually felt better after the session, or I actually felt like someone was actually seeing me or seeing something that I couldn't see in me, stuff like that. Like, this person actually gives a bleep about me, whereas this other person is just like, they're about whatever they're about, and they're going to get that out of me when they're taking this picture.
Right. I mean, it's how they're going to frame it,
Yeah,
so
it's
to
how they're going
speak.
to frame it.
Yeah, no pun intended, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's just,
Like their
it's just how
intention
it
is
is.
going to come across
Hmm.
regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that the fact that you're thinking about that, I
I
guess
think
that's
that's,
what I'm talking about, is
yeah, for
I don't,
real.
yeah. And I would invite you to do that, because I think the things that you're looking for and seeing are a lot more different and a lot more, like, you're actually bringing the humanity into it, and it's not voyeurism. Then I think it's humanizing. At
Yeah.
least my
Thank
guess.
you for saying that. I really appreciate that. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, you actually, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, it's like, for a couple years I lived up in Longmont,
Mhm.
or we moved back down here to Denver, and I loved, Longmont's got an extensive population, street population,
Mhm.
and yeah, man, I wish I still smoked cigarettes for that reason, because that was always, I'm not always, I shouldn't say that, but a lot of times that was always a way for me to greet and like sit down and talk to people, is like offer them a cigarette, and because I mean, honestly, I'm not trying to pigeonhole people, but most of them smoke cigarettes because it's
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
just to take the edge off. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe I should, I could just buy cigarettes and just offer them.
I thought about doing that when I first moved away to Portland, because people would talk to someone else when they had a cigarette. So I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah, yeah. Cause that's the thing. Like, I never have cash on me, right?
Mhm.
Never have cash, so I can't give you a dollar.
Mhm.
I'm dependent because my paycheck is direct deposited, and then
Mhm.
I spend that money via either writing bills or with the card. Like, I'm pointing at my bowl back here with my, like, what I'm talking about. Anyway,
I'm like,
so
you buy a lot of books.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's a really good point about like the person's intention, the photographer in this instance, their intention is going to come across,
Yeah.
um, if they mean it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I don't
thank
know.
you.
Some
Yeah, no, I
people
think that's a good point. I think that's a good point.
because
I appreciate that.
yeah, I'm just like, because I had in my heart like, oh God, someone else is gonna see this and they're gonna do it, and I'm like, no, 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 you need to do this. Like, don't let
Yeah,
someone else do it, because their eyes are different and their heart
yeah.
is different.
Well, and that was like, that was kind of the plan a couple years ago with the project. I wanted, I want to get you in on it. I want to get Dunn in on it. I want to get Jason Arment in on it.
Yeah,
Um, for him, it's a total juxtaposition of sorts, but not what I see inside him. Like, anyway,
yeah.
I want to go into that. Um, and I will. Like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I just need to make the time to do it. So we'll do that. Hey, what time is it, by the way?
Yeah, we should probably close up pretty soon. It's 2:08. Um, but like, I definitely want people to know like where they can find your work and support it. And yeah.
I mean, I'm not, you know what? Like I don't have anything set up to sell my things. Like I always depended on like the, yearly, bi-yearly shows that I would do.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't I haven't printed anything in a super long time, and I
Yeah.
haven't had a show. I haven't had a show since 2016.
Holy cats, really?
I know.
Has
I
it been that
know.
long?
Yeah,
Holy
and
cow.
I've got like so much great new material that I could do, but I just
Mm.
haven't done it. I should make that happen. I mean, really, you know what happened? It was like the last quarter of 2018,
Mm-hmm.
it started with looking for a house,
Yeah.
and now being a homeowner, and then it's literally consumed, like it's consumed a lot more, and like I need to figure out how to work that in, like being a homeowner, right? Like you have shit to take care of.
Right. Right.
This is like the fucking first house like I ever have lived in, like it's fucking weird. And so yeah, yeah, fucking mowing the grass and so weird.
That's awesome. I think
So
that's
domestic.
awesome.
We clean house every Sunday, like we have to though, like despite what it looks like because my
Mhm.
allergies, because of the
Yeah.
cat. So I have to.
Clean every
Anyway,
Sunday.
yeah.
Well, I think you're awesome, and I'm really glad you had this talk with me. Is there anything you'd like to leave people with?
Anything I like to leave people with. Just I think I think overall I would just like people to ignore what the media is telling them, ignore what the ignore anyone trying to tell you what to think or how to think. Because I feel I do, and I've said this in so many different ways, so many different times on social media. Like, I feel like most people, and I mean that, most people in their hearts, they have good intentions, uh, and it goes way beyond who you're voting for.
Yeah.
It goes beyond. It goes beyond it goes way beyond what you have grown up with, what people have told you this is right and this is wrong. I don't believe in the right and wrong. I believe in doing the right thing, but I don't believe that comes from any sort of religion or anything like that. It certainly doesn't come from the people telling us how we should live our lives.
Right.
I feel like we all want to help people and we all want to do the right thing, whatever that means to you. Everybody's right thing is different, but I think ultimately the outcome is the same: is that people are going to be supported. And I feel like I feel like if, I feel like if if your life somehow does not involve on a regular basis trying to support people,
Mm.
I just don't feel I just don't feel like there's any point then, like,
Mm.
like what's the point of having a government if it's not ultimately there to help people? And that's where we're at. We don't have that government.
That's where we're at.
It has
Yep.
nothing to do with one side or the other. Like we just so I feel like, yeah, just be kind and just help people. And I'm not a kind person. Like I'm filled with hate and anger. Because, but you know that though, like you know me well enough. Like I'm a very angry person. But ultimately, it extends from people not doing the good things that they like. People allowing to be manipulated and having their thoughts manipulated.
Yeah,
Uh, just listen to yourself. I think that's what I'll say. Just listen to yourself.
I can dig that.
Thank you, Tamika.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm gonna close this up.
All right, I'll talk to you.